Good morning everybody. Today we're going to be doing some adding of decimals. So we're going to work through a few of the challenges, a few examples from each challenge just to make sure that you all know what you're doing. If we look at challenge 1 here, our first question is 0.3 plus 0.5. Now adding decimals is very much the same as adding whole numbers. It's the same process. All you have to do is remember your decimal point. So 3 and 5 is 8. So the answer is 0.8. Sometimes when you add two tenths together, they will come to more than a unit. So for example, if we look at f, it's 0.9 plus 0.6. Now 9 and 6, we know is 15. So all we have to do is remember our decimal point. These numbers are both to one decimal place, which means our answer will also be to one decimal place. So the answer is 1.5. Looking at challenge 1, question 2, this time there are hundredths involved, so we're adding to two decimal places, and again they might carry over into the next house. If we look at question C, for example, we've got 0.46 plus 0.27. It's just a case of careful adding, and you can use your mental strategies that you usually use to help you work these out quicker in your head. Okay, 6 and 7 is 13, 4 and 2 and 1 is 7, so the answer is 0.73. When you're doing that mentally, you could think to yourself, as with your normal counting column strategies, adding the tens, 40 and 20 would give you 60, and adding the units, 6 and 7 would give you 13, but then remembering that our sum is to two decimal places, so our answer must also be to two decimal places. So your answer is 0.73. The more of these you do, the more efficient the mental strategies you will come up with, and you'll get quicker at them. Challenge 2 is a game, so you can play that with somebody at home, and there will be a link to 0 to 9 dice in your assignment for today that you can use to help you play that game. Challenge 2, question 2 is more of the same, simply adding these decimal numbers, which are hundredths, so they're to two decimal places, again using your counting column strategies to try and do them mentally, but you can always check with your written method as well to make sure you got it right. Question 3 says, how many different ways can you complete this calculation using the number cards below? Work out the answer to each of your calculations. So the number cards you have are 2, 4, 7 and 9, and the sum is 1 two decimal number plus another. So one solution could be 0.24 plus 0.79. I'd use my mental strategies to try and work out what that was. So 0.2 plus 0.7, that's going to be 0.9. 0.04 plus 0.09, well I know that 4 and 9 are 13. And I know this answer is to two decimal places, so that must mean it's 0.13. So I have 0.9 plus 0.13, which I'm doing in my head. And I get 1.03. I'm going to make sure that's correct by just checking it with a quick vertical sum. 4 and 9 is 13, 2, 1 and 7 makes 10. Yeah, 1.03 is my answer to that. So I've used my written strategy to check that my mental calculation was correct. What you have to do is make as many of these sums using these four number cards as you can. And then it says compare your totals with a partner. So you might want to do this with somebody at home. Have either of you found any your partner has not? And work together to organise your calculations in a systematic way. Now what that system is up to you. It could be increasing or decreasing values of the answers, or it could be starting all the sums that you can think of, starting with the digit 2 in your first number, or the digit 9 in your first number, or whatever way you want to do it. Some systematic way of organising your answers to make sure that you've got as many possible different sums as you can. Challenge 3, question 1. You've got to think a little bit about the theory here. It says explain how known facts can be used to add decimals. Well, we knew that 4 and 9 made 13, so we were able to add 0.04 and 0.09. Explain how that's helpful. Then for question 2, it says for each of these answers write two different decimal additions. One strategy that you might want to use for this is actually subtraction. So for example, I have to write two sums which make 1.76. I'm going to think of one sum now. So I'm going to think of a decimal number less than 1.76 that I could take away from it. And I'm going to take away 0.92, for example. Okay, so 6 take 2 is 4, 7 take 9 I can't do. I'm going to borrow one from the 1 and put it there. So 17 take 9 is 8, and that gives me 0. So now I can see that 0.92 plus 0.84 equals 1.76, and that gives me one addition sum that can be used to make this answer. And you can use that same strategy to make the other answers as well.